Hey everybody, this is Mona Bodane, and I'm excited to welcome all of you to my new podcast, Uptown with Mona. Here we go. Hey guys, what's going on? It's your girl Mona B. I want to welcome everybody to Uptown with Mona. We're going to get right to it because I have a dope ass fucking poet, and that's how I have to say it because he's so dope. I think we've shared a stage or two. We may have, but in any event, I'm gonna bring him up. His name is Iyaba Mandingo, and we're gonna get to this. Hey,
Peace, sister. Peace. How are you? How are you? Wonderful to see your face, darling. How are
what
you?
is going on, my Demi? How you been?
I'm excellent, excellent. Highly favored and blessed, and just walking in the light. So it's loving,
Yes,
loving, loving all of this. Loving it.
listen.
Loving the gray
Yes,
beard, and
I
yeah,
see it.
love getting older and love
Listen, I
maturing.
got some coming, and I be coloring mine a little bit because I'm not ready. I ain't ready yet. I'm still trying to stay young.
I can
So
dig it. I can dig it. That. But I'm good, sis. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing much
Wonderful.
better. Everything, things are getting better. I'm doing
Beautiful.
good. Starting
Blessings.
my podcast,
Blessings.
working
Blessings.
this out, and we doing
Blessings.
it. I'm just
Blessings.
doing
Blessings.
it.
Blessings. Blessings. I'm looking forward to the chop it up. I'm looking forward.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
So I need you to tell me what I see all the shit that you've been doing, all the stuff you've been doing. You've been
Mm-hmm.
doing so talented, such a talented brother. I follow you. I kind of want to be you when I grow up. I
I
want
can
to
dig
be
it.
like you when I grow up
I
because
can dig it.
I'm gonna let you explain it. Explain. Tell me
Um,
what's going on. Tell me what's going on. Then we'll get into the questions.
cool. So Ayaba Ibo Mandingo. Once upon a time, I definitely would take forever running off all the things that I do. And I realized after Africa, 2015. So maybe the last 8 years. I'm actually August will be 8 years.
Hmm.
Um, I realize I'm a storyteller in the tradition of our ancestors. I'm a griot, I'm a jele. So I have a bunch of different tools I can use: painting, I can use poetry, I can use performance, I can use playwriting, I could use acting, I could use
Yes.
sculpting, I could use short story writing and those kind of things, and writing prose to tell these stories, and sort of realizing that that's what I do really helped me to understand exactly what the ancestors ask of me, and what the blood, what's in my bloodline. I'm that. I'm the storyteller that uses a lot of different tools.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes, yes. Um,
Listen.
what else am I doing? Everything. Since you got me dead to rights. Right now, 04 is 2024 is beautiful. What is we 3 months deep? Been selling
Yeah.
a lot of art. I want to thank the people that are supporting us with that. It's beautiful. I'm in my gallery now. I live in a gallery and work in a gallery. So the studio's on the first floor, and the next 3 floors is the my living quarters
Right.
and 3 floors of artwork. It's a wonderful opportunity to put up my stuff, but also debut a lot of young brothers and sisters. I'm at that age now where you got young people coming up to you and asking you, how do you? And I'm like, so come, let me show you. And that's been the whole mission has been that. And that's kind of trickled into, I'm a master teaching artist. So I'm always in the schools, after school programs. This is now my 32nd year doing that. And
Yes.
so I came right from that to sitting and chopping it up with you. Um,
I
we got
love
a
it.
new book of poetry. We got a book coming out that's sort of like a mix. It's called Seasoned Rice, and
Mm-hmm.
I know in your culture you have a version of that. In
Yes.
Africa, in West Africa, it's jollof rice. It's that one pot. When your great grandmother, when Mama throw everything that's left in the house into one pot, throw some rice in there, or make it into a
That's
soup or
right.
some rice, and
Yes.
everybody get a chance to eat off of that, and everybody get
Yes.
so
Yes.
it's that. So it's gonna have some poetry. It's gonna have some prose. It's gonna have some essays. And Yeah, poetry's prose essays,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
a few articles that I've written for some Caribbean outlets, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just going to be a share. It's called Season Rice. We're planning on putting it out in the next couple of months. That along with a children's book called Who Am I? That's
Oh
sort of
wow.
a poem turned into a children's book, and the other one Navel String. So nice little thing on my plate this year. In
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks we take off to go to St. Lucia for a gig with Yaya down there. That should be really really fun. Hooked up with some brilliant musicians down there. Um, and yeah, just really staying busy and being blessed, because I can say, I pay all my bills being an artist full time, and I have more work than I know what to do it right now. So I give thanks, sis. I give thanks.
I
Yeah.
know. Listen,
Yeah.
I'm doing my, I'm doing my thing. I'm doing a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. I started my new venture with the sneakers,
Yes, yes,
and we discussed that stuff. And
yes, we did.
you don't understand how I think this is where this is it. I think
Yeah,
this is,
yeah.
you know,
We talked about getting older. I think that that's the thing, and it to me
yes.
it's the ripening, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to thinking that older means something that goes. No, ripening is like blossoming. So for me, I'm really comfortable in my skin now, and that makes the poetry better. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? That makes the playwriting better. That makes the acting better because I'm so the confidence is coming from this place of I know I've been at this for 30 plus years, but even more than that. Whereas when we were younger, we thought that 50-something-year-old meant came with all of these connotations. Actually, what it comes with is a ripening in you, so you know who you are now. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know who
Right.
you are, and nobody you ain't got people's critiques and criticisms and shit talking comes. They lay in a whole different way now. You know what I'm saying? The stuff that's
Mm-hmm.
good, you take it, and the stuff that ain't, you flush it down the toilet and you keep it moving. And I'm really grateful, especially for our generation. We come from a very interesting generation. I
Oh
think
yeah. We're Gen
historians are going to be.
X's.
Oh my lord!
We're Gen X's.
I think for
We're the best
forever,
generation there is.
forever,
These
and
these
we are the connective tissue because
yes.
we are the last generation. In a lot of ways, it's good. Like we are the last generation that sort of carries that heavy burden of being the children of enslaved people, if you will. And our children, the way we raised our children is to think that they are free. So our children think about coming to you and be like, Dad, I want to move to Japan. Okay, do that. Dad, I
Right.
want to go, I want to go take, I want to go, maybe a semester in, like the things you used to hear our white friends say when we were younger. Our children now feel like that. And I think that's a beautiful thing to
Yes.
be able to
Yes.
move forward. So I just think that we're like that in between generation. I know for a fact, like we went from being the remote control to not being able to find the 8 or 9 different remote controls. You know what I'm saying? So
Tell me about
and
it.
and nobody can talk about that. I remember my father kicking my behind for taking his he had a two-headed 8-track for
Uh-huh.
his orange Datsun in Antigua in the Caribbean.
Wait a minute. They don't even know what a remote control. I mean, what a 8-track
They
is.
don't. They have no idea, sis. I remember I pulled out. I pulled out the tape, but my father cut my behind. And now you could go in. You could go in there and touch some shit on your phone and
Right.
Bluetooth and be listening to music. And sometimes I have to
Everything.
laugh. And no other generation can talk about that many technological things happening in their lifetime. So
Right.
we're a very unique generation. So
Right.
I'm embracing that. I'm embracing
Yeah.
that, and I feel we're getting better. I really do.
Uh,
I do,
I don't
sis.
know. Listen, my grandkids, true story. Anytime I need anything done, I have to ask my 10-year-old grandson, you know how to do this? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
grandma, you don't know how to do it?
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Let me
come on.
show you. They look at me like I'm bothering them. Like
Please,
like grandma,
more,
you don't know how to do this? You're an adult. You should know how to do this. I'm
more every
telling you.
time, I went and upgraded the phone the other day, right? And a young person looked like one of our kids behind the counter is laughing at me.
Mm.
I'm like, what's going on? He's like, sir, you didn't even use half of these apps. What you getting a new phone for?
Thank you. We don't even know how to
So
use that.
you
Listen, I have
understand
an
me?
iPhone, and I know how to make a phone call. I know how to maybe I know how to text. I know how to do maybe one or two other things. My
Uh-huh.
my admin showed me how to do screen sharing. I was
Yeah,
like, oh shit, I didn't know how to do that.
that's me. That's me.
She's one of those millennials, and she's
Yeah.
been showing me. She showed me how to do all this stuff because I didn't know what the fuck. I didn't know I didn't know what I was doing.
That's one of the reasons when you called me, I jumped up because people are telling me I should do this. I'm like, look, man, I was born in the '60s, man. I'm not sure,
Me
man.
too.
You dig me?
Me
So,
too.
so
Me too.
I'm paying attention and taking notes because it's that same. And again, to me, being a historian 100 years ago, like
Mm.
think about who was Sigmund Freud's and the Duke Ellingtons, and these are the people that walk creation and were sort of in the ripening of their lives. And
Yes.
the truth of the matter is, in 100 years, when they look back at this century, whatever the first 50 years of this century will become falls on us.
It falls on us.
You know what I'm saying? Yes.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it behooves you to embrace and realize that you can really create a legacy that is forever and ever. Amen. A lot of times being born in the beginning of a century, in the middle of a century, because then
Mm.
you go 20th century again, you think about the middle. Who were the
Yes.
people? You talking about our parents, the Malcolm X's
Yes.
and the Martin Luther Kings and the Marleys and the Bunny Whalers and the Peter Toshes and the Mandelas. These were all the people that sort of blossomed in 50 years in. So that ain't gonna be us, because 2050, We not gonna be here, and unless we super extra blessed and somebody
By
front,
2060, maybe 2062, or I'm pushing it.
yeah,
We may live to see 90 if
yes,
we take care
lucky
of
and
ourselves, if
yes,
we're
yes,
lucky,
yes, and
and we
blessed
take
and
and
blessed,
bless.
yes, yes,
Exactly.
yes, 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 yes,
Exactly.
yes.
So I want to ask you another question before I ask these. I have a set of questions which I call 16 bars,
I
but I
like
want to
that.
ask you one more thing before we get to these questions.
Please.
What's going on with the one man show?
Crazy. You brought that up. So, and this is kind of one of these things I could talk to you to next week about. So,
Mm-hmm.
really short story. I was in New Canaan this past weekend. New Canaan is
Right.
very. It's like New Canaan to Bridgeport is like Sleepy Hollow to the
Okay.
Bronx. You know what I'm
I
saying?
got you. I got you.
So you got sometimes our people can be trapped in that bottle, that crab in the barrel. So you have people going, oh, yeah, but why are you bringing art to why are you bringing art to New Canaan? I'm like, that's the point. Art is the bridge, man. Our job is to as our job is to cross those lines
Mm.
and to break those barriers and to push down those walls and go into these communities. And what I discovered going into this community this past weekend, not only did I sell paintings, which is always a beautiful thing for a full-time
Mm-hmm.
artist, but I met a lot of wonderful people who are really interested in pushing aside the norms and doing something new, something that is this century. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things that came out of that was them asking me, well, what else can they do? And of course, I'm going to mention the show because they got the monies and the economics to fund something and get that show up, all the bells and whistles. So
Right.
it's been down for a while. We've done,
Mm-hmm.
I think the last time we did it was 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic in Springfield, Massachusetts. So
Okay.
it's about 3 years down. But
You really need to do it again.
oh
You
yeah, I
need
feel
to
it.
be.
I feel
That
it. I
is
feel it.
the dopest
I
one
feel it.
man show
I feel it. I feel it. It's coming.
ever,
Thank your heart. Bless
ever,
your heart.
ever,
Bless
ever.
your heart. Bless your heart.
Okay, so
But
let's
and
get to these. Go
wait,
ahead.
first, I got to take your segue though. So since
Uh-huh.
we're segueing, what I do have coming outside of the play that I know is coming soon is called Silver Bracelets. It's my first multi-person play.
Wow.
It's about a heritage. In the Caribbean, our mothers keep the silver bracelets. So it's based on the piano lesson. So it's about moving away from your culture, your roots, and your family, or your home base where your people are buried, and moving
Mm,
to a new place and forgetting who you are, and
right.
what happens when that happens to you, how the disconnect that happens. So I'm looking forward
Mm,
to sharing that. Maybe when it's time for us
wow.
to really bring that up, I come back on and talk your ear off about that.
I really want to see. Are you going to have it? Are you going to feature it in the city where you did
Yes,
it the
I
last
am.
time on the east
Yes, I am.
side?
Yes, I am. But I'm gonna tell you something that I learned from and I call his name. His name is Ruben Santiago Hudson, a
Uh-huh.
brilliant brother who I call my big brother. And he says, don't ever bring nothing down here right away because these people down here don't got no original ideas and they'll steal it. So workshop it out of town. And he's talking about that big white way, Broadway. Yes,
Uh-huh.
they
Oh
haven't
yeah,
had an
yeah,
original
yeah,
idea in two,
yeah,
three,
yeah.
4, 5 decades. So he says, workshop that shit out of town. And when it's ready and done and they can't do nothing but sit and enjoy it, bring it down. So that's what we're
You
gonna do. We're
got to
gonna
bring it
workshop it.
up.
We're gonna workshop it here for a little bit, and then we're gonna bring it in. We're gonna bring it in, and
You got to bring it
I'm
to
gonna bring it to
Harlem.
us first. I'm gonna bring it
You
to
got
us
to
first.
bring it to Harlem. Got to
Yes,
bring it
yes,
to the east to East
yes,
Harlem.
yes,
Because
ma'am.
that
Yes,
was the
ma'am.
dope
Yes,
as. I wish I could have saw it again because I
yes,
really enjoyed myself when I
yes,
saw the
ma'am.
play.
Yes, ma'am. Good,
So
cool.
let me
So cool. Let me have them. Let me have them.
first question. 16 bars, okay?
Mm-hmm.
First question. What inspired you to start writing poetry?
Mm. Wow, this is gonna sound like some shit I'm making up because they're gonna do a movie of my life one of these days, but it's really not.
Mm-hmm.
In jail in Iowa, freshman year, for getting my white girlfriend pregnant at the time. Her father obviously didn't dig it, so I got locked up. And up to that point, to me, poetry was like this stuffy thing that white cats in smoking jacket and ascots did with a pipe. How now, brown cow, in front of like a fireplace. Never got into it. Never read it. Other than like the shit we know, so roses are red, violet and blue. Other than those sort of limericky things.
Yes.
And I'm in jail, and I lie and tell my mother that I'm staying for football camp, right? It was
Mm-hmm.
during the break, during the winter, some spring break that I got locked up. And
Right.
I figured I'd tell her eventually what the hell was going on because I didn't know what my fate was. They just came and locked me up, got me off the campus, locked me up. And I sit down to write my mother this letter about 3 weeks deep, feeling I'm a mama's boy to the 10th power. sit down to write this letter to her telling her where I am. And the first poem comes out. Don't be afraid of me because I'm black. I don't deserve your ruthless attack. All I want is to live in peace, but you won't rest until I'm deceased. You brought me here. I never asked to come. Now you tell me to go back to where I'm from. Are you afraid that I'll do the same now that I'm onto your evil game? Don't blame me. You taught me hate. And now in my eyes, you can see your fate. Your sins are repented. Your debts go unpaid. Don't you think I'm the one who should be afraid? And I dropped the pen like, what was that? So
What the
that,
hell was
yeah,
that?
that was how poetry came. That's how poetry came. So yeah.
Wow.
And that was 1989. So it's
So
been
you started writing in 1989. That was your first piece,
yeah,
talking to my dude.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Breeze,
They
you
go,
see
they
Breeze
go,
is here.
yeah,
Hey
yeah,
Breeze, what's
yeah.
going on, Breeze?
Breeze know the story. Yes, absolute. It was one of those kind of things where and lying to my mother was necessary because you know how you black mothers get down. My mother would have stopped the planet and wanted to move across from the jail for the time I was in there. So that was, but then knowing I was really desperately sad and homesick. I'm a mama's boy to the 10th power. So that letter I thought was going to be that. And when I saw that come out, and then over the next couple of days, maybe the first part of my first chapbook, 41 times, kind of came out of that. And those poems just come out. So I'm going, okay, poetry. And then, I come back and I transfer to Southern after everything kind of squashes. I come back and I transfer home to Southern because Iowa was a little scary. And I get up at a Black Student Union one day and read another one of the poems, Why? And back then you're talking about fight the power era. So we used to have like 500-600 kids in every Friday morning, the Black Student Union. And I stood up and got a standing ovation. In the other part, I guess sitting there writing the poem was like the first intrigue, like, But then watching the way the audience reacted to my words, I was like, I think I might like this.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what, and then the rest is history, not to be corny, because within a couple months, I met Baba Ngoma, who became, still I love him like my father.
Yes, Baba
Ngoma. And at that time I was going to Southern. He was coming up there a lot. A sister of his, D, was up there, and he would come up a lot and see her, and he was doing poetry. I walked in one night and it was like a black man with dreads, burning fire, sending lightning bolts from the stage. I was like, I want to do that. And then I followed him into the city, and this is mid 90s when poetry was blowing back up. And I caught the fever. And for probably the first 6 months, I sat on my notebook because people like Saul Williams was going up there and rocking the stage. You know what I'm saying?
Saul Williams.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Sharif Simmons and Jessica Moore and and Mums. These are the people that were going up. I'm sitting in there. I signed the sheet and the money. I'm looking at the dude like, I'm just gonna be an audience member tonight. You know what I'm saying? So it was that for a while until you really got the courage and you run into you remember the scene mid late 90s. These were homes and they were like caves. They were like these little covens that we could go in, and you were nurtured. You know what I'm saying? By different people. Shout out to Pat, host of the Brooklyn Moon and one of the coolest cats. He would coach you up on that stage and really encourage, man, and chastise and tell you when it sucked. And so we got better. Iron sharpens iron style. Chris Slaughter, me and Chris Slaughter graduating class from the Brooklyn Moon. Nathan P, Tantra, so many people I could talk you to death about. Jive Poetic, so many of us.
And I know half of them. I don't know all of them.
I know you do.
Half of them.
I know you do. And
I've shared stages with them.
And the cat that just came in, the first time I heard him, he was doing the Kubies. I think he still does it. Oh. And you look around like, who's that? And there's this tall cat in the back. And I learned later that.
Listen, if he's on once we finish this interview, I'll bring him in so we could chat for a few minutes.
Absolutely. All right.
So second question. Here we go. How do you find your inspiration for your poems?
Wow, Mona, these are good questions, and I'm not just saying that because I love you. So for me, right, it's us. I love us. I love us, and I realize that we come from generations of people who never got to do this, never got to say, well, what do you do, Iyaba? I'm an artist. Really? Yeah, I'm a poet and a painter. Yeah. And that's what I do primarily. And we had those that's in our bloodline. Things like going through their papers after they transition, and you find out, wait a minute, my mother wrote poems. My grandfather was a sculptor. You know what I'm saying? So he wasn't just a tailor. That's how. So for me, it's that. And then the other part that sometimes I try not to do is this whole idea of reacting. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to always be in a place where, damn, another black man got killed, I got to write a poem. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like that. I don't like that vibe at all.
Yes.
But you realize that that's a part of the job. So those two things inspire. But more than anything else, love. to be cliche, yes, I don't mind in this instance. Love of us. I love us. And I want to tell our
Yes.
stories. And I want our children to be inspired and look at people like me and you and go, okay, I could look like them and say I'm a poet. Yes, you can, brother and sister. So it's that. It's that pay it forward thing that we got from the people that we got to hang around with, the Sonia
Right.
Sanchez's and the Nikki Giovanni's and you know what I'm
Right.
saying, and the Baba Baraka and those people. You know what I'm
Because
saying? The
my
way they,
inspiration was Michelle Indiacello,
yeah, man.
Sonia Sanchez.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
What's the my favorite? Nikki Giovanni. That
Yeah,
is
man.
my
Yeah, man. For
I
me, if you ask me,
love her.
ultimately, jazz musicians,
Uh-huh.
Thelonious Monk, you know,
Yes.
John Coltrane, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Charles Mingus. They first of all, they Mingus said they didn't call it jazz, they call it Black revolutionary music, and
Right.
just their push, you know, like here's the comfort zone. These cats would deliberately aim for right here, like on purpose, and they would fail. Like when you hear Herbert Hancock talking about Miles Davis paid them to mess up on stage, and he would get pissed at them when they didn't. Like he said, we could rehearse, but when you get on stage, I want to hear you trying new shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Herb Hancock, like he made a mistake one day on the piano, and he stopped, and Miles looked up at him like, "Why the hell you do that?" And then he played this phrase that made the mistake that he thought he made perfect. And I was like,
Wow.
so to me, that's the, you know what I mean? That's the thing right
Mm-hmm.
there. Yeah, that's the jump off I want to take right there.
Right, right, right.
Mm,
Okay. Next
mm,
question.
mm.
Can you describe your creative process when writing a new poem?
Juju,
Juju.
juju first. The
Okay.
juju, the thing that let me see. Let me think of all the things that this part of the world, that the Western Hemisphere calls that black magic, uh,
Mm-hmm.
obia, voodoo, and I want to say these things in all with all the negative connotations that are put on them, but that's where I get it from. Like we that's where I believe we get it from. Again, the same reason, because it comes from the people in our bloodline. Like I come from poets, you come from poets. There was a woman in your bloodline or a man that wanted to write beautiful erotic poetry, and she couldn't, so she sent it forward to you to do it. and
Mm.
and I believe that with my whole, so that's the first place. So things like, like my signature piece, or the poem I open up with all the time. Yes, Vudong, yeah, Reese. Um, Ancestors. I remember very clearly there was an old man that lived, and this is a project. He lived a couple of doors down from us, and I was in school at the time, so I would come back home to visit mommy. And one day he said, "Come here, young man. I love the way you carry yourself. You don't allow none of this shit to get to you, and you always stay above it." And I used to watch him. He was, or you could see he ironed his clothes still. This is a man in his 80s. The seam in his pants and the seam in his shirt. And being a Taylor's grandson, I know all of that. That means care of self. And
Mm-hmm.
he would cross his legs a certain. He would just sit right outside his back door. His wife would bring him his lunch, and I would go out and start talking to him. And one day, his daughter knocked on the back door after me and him really creating a friendship for about 2 years. And his daughter knocked on the back door and she said, "Daddy died today," and I cried. And then I
Wow.
went inside. I'm like, I got to do something, and I don't know what. But so I sit down with the pen, and out of the pen comes, he sits to me like a turtle warrior contemplating his youth, of battles lost in one another's search for truth. Imagining myself as him and traveling, and I feel like I'm racing to get it, sis, because it's like I feel like I'm dictating more than
Right.
creating. You think
Right.
like it's literally coming, and I really feel like if I don't rush and do it, I'm going to lose one of the words or lose one of the music of it. And I didn't stop. I didn't stop to add my 2 cents until I got to like the second stanza.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote it and then looked at it and like put it down and like went back to it an hour later, and then I added the thing that became the poem that I share with y'all. But that to me is the process. So for me, what I've learned is how to conjure like that state of like bliss. And for me, ganja helps. You know what I'm saying? But you know, like Bob said, herb is a thing that's good for you,
Yeah.
comma, if you use it. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
brothers and sisters are smoking herb, but they're not using it. Because when you have something that can send you into the three fourths of your meditation that all these scientists say you don't use,
Mm-hmm.
then why wouldn't you explore that region and do the right things when you're there? You know what I'm saying? And really, really like I got a poem, you stuck. That's the time to go back and get that poem when you quote unquote high. Is the time. Is the time you go back. You know what I'm saying? Is when you go back and get that poem, and that's when you
Yes.
got,
Yes.
because now you could, instead of sitting up there and dissecting what happened to you 10 years ago down to the color of the shirt that the woman wore or the man was wearing. How about
Right.
dissecting that poem now? You know what I'm saying? So that's the creative process for me.
Right.
I told you I was going to talk you to death.
No, I'm happy. Thank you. Thank you. You made me think about me when I first started writing. I don't even remember when I started. I know I remember doing my first erotic piece. It was at a spot in the Bronx. Zero Priestess had a spot in the Bronx in a little in the cut. And I went in there and I did this poem. I don't even remember the name of the poem. And I halfway through the poem, I'm red, my face is red, my ears are red, and I start laughing. And this young man came and sat at my feet, and I'm like, yo, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on here? And I love erotic poetry.
Yeah,
That's what
man.
I love. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes,
I understand. And I don't smoke weed or none of that. I just for
channel.
me it comes from past experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. No, but since we channel, since we there's so many names that they call it empath, they call all these things.
Yes.
One to me, knowledge of self comes with, it comes with a lot of things, but one of the things it comes with is a reconnection to your spiritual self.
Yes.
And I mean spiritual in the most fundamental ways, like the man, like I remember when I go home, I go up in the hills with my cousins. The Rastas, they live up in the hills in the bush. They don't come down and they don't deal with any of those kind of things. And this is in college, and I took an economics book with me, and I don't. Economics is kind of like math, and it ain't my cup of tea. And I'm trying to really break down the idea of supply and demand. And he sees the book. This is a man who, quote unquote, by Western standards, can't read. Right. And I explain what I'm doing, and we're in the bush, so he sees an anthill. He chews up a piece of coconut, and he puts it right next to the anthill. And of course, within minutes, the ants come out. They start getting the coconut and going back. And like 5 minutes, he takes up the coconut and moves it like 10 feet away. And he said, watch. And I see the ants come out and go, that's supply. He goes, that's supply and demand. And all I could do was laugh. Because this is like a semester in. You feel me? And now I got a cat who by Western standards can't read, breaking down something that my professor was having a hard time doing, using basics. And that's what I mean. That's what I mean. That's the level of spirituality that I'm interested in. The very indigenous vibration where you just reconnect to the universe and you realize that you flow. And
I'm so happy.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
I'm happy to have you here. I miss seeing your face, man.
You too,
I miss seeing your face.
You too, my dear.
Here we go. Are there any specific themes or topics that you enjoy exploring in your poetry? I guess an elaboration of what we just talked about.
Yeah. But Africa for sure. And Black people, social issues when it comes to Black people. Sometimes it comes, people like you will inspire me to delve into my erotic self and put those words in, and like a kind of revolutionary does erotic poetry type of vibration, which I have a lot of fun doing. But I'm gonna tell you visually, because I knew I'm a painter as well. I love y'all. I love Black women. I love Black women because y'all are magical. But I love y'all, and I love y'all because y'all are foundational. I love y'all because y'all so beautiful. But y'all are strong, man. Like y'all are stronger than us. And so I was raised by my mother and her 3 sisters and my grandmother. And my uncles and my father, they in and out it. But when it comes to the day-to-dayness, when it comes to who I am structurally as a human being, it's that. So any chance I get to really celebrate y'all, I do. And I realize this is not something that I set out to do, but like, for example, my artwork. If you look at my artwork, I'm going to say more than 80% of it is sisters.
Do you have 1 or 2 pieces you could show? 1 piece, maybe you could show us.
That's right. Right over my back.
I see her.
Yeah, that's Fire Mother. That's Fire Mother right behind me. And she is just what you say. She's magical. I could do that. Give me 2 secs.
Yeah. So here we are, y'all. Hanging out with Iyaba Mandingo, the incomparable.
This is one of my cardboard pieces. Hold on, let me plug back in here.
Let me see. I still have a couple of your pieces around here that I had got from you.
I know you do. This is one of my cards. This is roofing tile. So I know if you see the abstract sister, she's sitting just in her glory. She's got one knee up, the other knee kind of sitting on one leg, leaning on her elbow. And this is just me, just this again, the celebration. This is the beginning of when I was doing this. These things are now 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet huge now. So yeah, just celebrating y'all is my favorite subject in all the ways, as mother, as lover, as friend, as leader, as tormentor, as all of the above. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So question number 5.
Mm-hmm.
How do you decide on the structure and form of your poems?
Wow, Mona. What's up with
Yeah.
the what's up with the what's up with the what's up with the Yo! What's up with the university? I love it. I love it. So these are like I love it. I love it for me, right? So I got this thing that I say that I know scares a lot of people. I say death to the white art world, and they're like, "Ooh, Iyaba." And I know I have a lot of white friends as white people like to say about black people. I do have a lot of white friends, and I move in a lot of white circles, and I say it in front of them, and it makes them nervous. And then I dare them to ask me what that means. In the white art world, they challenge it. 100 years ago, they had this movement called Dadaism. It was about ridiculing the absurd and ridiculing or the normal, the redundant. You know what I'm saying? Like the redundancy of a thing when it became. That's why you have cubism and abstract and visual arts. They challenge themselves, but nobody's ever challenged them. Nobody ever challenged. So here it is. We are almost 25 years into a new century, and the people who decide what art is are still rich white men, and now their wives, and on the whole, universally. So I say that to bring it back to poetry. Like the first thing I noticed they did was call a spoken word artist. I don't accept that title at all. And I really believe that that's something that the publishing world invented when they realized that we were here in the mid 90s. Like, ooh, we can't call them poets. Yes, you can, because you call Ginsberg poet, and you call Kerouac poet. And you know why you did that? And then you said that their poetry was free form, which is what we do a lot of times. So to answer your question in a kind of roundabout way, I'm going to say free form, but I also believe I love organic poetry. So I don't, I love the haiku. The haiku, is 575.
575.
Right. And it has to be about nature. So sometimes I write short pieces and they're not about nature. And I call them haikus because they're mine. You dig what I'm saying? So I like to play with the freedoms. And I'll bend up in English. The English language to me, because they beat it into us, I bastardize it as often as I can. So when I write, I deliberately beat it up. I'll write forward with a 4 and then W-A-R-D after it. I love doing that. So my form is push back against the system form. I guess that's my favorite form of poetry, is to push back against the system. And if I find myself falling into any kind of structure like the onomatopoeia thing and the rhyming every other line shit, I stop and do that poem another kind of way. I do not want to do what's already been done.
All righty.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. All right. How do you decide how do you handle writer's block or periods of creative drop when you have a drought?
Mona, I'm gonna give you 10 points for these quick. I mean it. Good girl. Good. Yo, you rock, sis. You rock. I can't. I'm going to tune in to see how everybody else handles these. Before Africa, like everybody else, I shook in my boots because ain't nothing like going blank. After Africa, I realized I'm a storyteller. So if it doesn't want to come as a poem, then I have to figure out what it wants to come as. Maybe it wants to come as a painting or a play. Or prose or an essay.
Or all of the above.
Exactly, which is why the stage is so awesome, because you can be everything on stage. And that's why I love the freedom of the stage. So for me, without sounding cocky, I truly, really have not had writer's block, painter's block, creative block at all in 8 years. Like, the pandemic, the 36 months of the pandemic, I did over 300 major pieces of artwork. And that's not counting the compilation of poetry and the 2 children's books. You know what I mean? And a couple of plays that are like either midway or written but haven't been typed yet, because I still write. I don't type. I'm still a writer. Right. You know what I'm saying? With pen and ink.
I write on my phone.
Yeah.
I use my phone. I don't have time to be sitting there. I done got so used to writing on my phone that when I try to write in a book, a notebook, it looks like scratch.
Well, you know what? For me, I'm a romantic when it comes to the history of us. Like I'll fuck around and go to the Schomburg and read again for the 50th time the letters between Langston Hughes and Zora Neale Hurston, especially when they got pissed off at each other and never fixed their friendship. All those things to me are very sexy. So I feel like we owe that to the future. And when you look like how Baldwin would like scratch out and put arrows and make all those little things I still write like that, because again, I'm corny and romantic like that. I like to really perpetuate like our history in that way. So it just became a thing. And to be honest, though I've gotten, with the texting thing, I've gotten much better at typing, I still write faster than faster than I type. And writing is the only way I can keep up with as fast as it's coming out my head. Because I be messing around looking for an E and forgot the damn sentence, and then be pissed off for 2 days because I lost a good sentence.
I see. I
What?
love you, bro.
I love you back. I love you back.
Next question. Check this out. What role do emotions and personal experiences play in your poetry?
All of it. It's either emotional or personal or both that inspires me or forces me or makes me write. So
Okay.
yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's short and sweet and to the point.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. How do you feel when sharing your poetry with others? I already know.
Inspired to the nth degree. And I'm gonna tell you this, right? When you say that, every time somebody asks me this type of question, I remember Clunan Middle School, 7th grade, Miss Cat's speech class, Kenny the Cruz, which is what my mother named me, got up to read his first speech in front of everybody, and I just remember the room going like this. and I fainted. And by then in the 7th grade, I was already 6 feet, probably about 240 by then. And this little short little white woman, probably 4'5", had to catch me, and I hit the ground. And I'm so embarrassed. I want to get back up. And she's like, no, that's okay, Kenny. You did a great job. I'm very confident. So if she had told me then on that day that I would be the person standing in front of people, thousands of people all over the world now, and doing poetry and performing, I would have been like, lady, you are out your mind. But it is the most, and I still have it, where you absolute fright and fear. And the minute you get on that stage and the first word comes out or that light hits you, it's a whole nother kind of thing. And then you don't want to get off. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So for me, it is, it's better than lovemaking. Yeah, it is. Because for me, right, lovemaking, the good lovemaking, like 2 days later, you're still looking at your partner like,
Right.
With the stage, when you have one of those moments on stage, a month later, you still could feel like you're above the ground like this. Flutter. I love that feeling. I love it. So the sustained feeling to me is the best dopamine rush I've had to date in 55 years. Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Next question. I'm waiting for the question to come up. All right, here you go. Okay, what do you hope readers will take away from your poetry?
Strength, and discovery, and wonder, and exploration. And I'm saying, I hope those words don't sound too out there, because what I want you to do when you read my poetry, when you hear my poetry, is hear the introspection, and then go in yourself, because everything is inside. Like, the answer to everything that's going on with all of us is inside. Yeah, there's a lot of outside stimulations that happen from A to Z, but at the end of the day, it's when you break it down, is how you reacted to it, where you stored that shit at, and what the place that you store it, that you've been storing it and overstuffing it, what does that look like now, and how does that play a role in how you act to people?
Wow. Wow, that's deep.
So
that's deep.
For me, that's yeah, that's what I hope. That's what I hope. That's what I take away. Go ahead. That's what I take away, though.
I got you. Yeah, I understand that. I want to ask you, before we go to the next question, I got to skip over, because I really need you to explain to these people what happened when you was in federal jail for 50, how many days? 55 days?
Yeah, 55 days, yeah.
Because of a poem.
I did a 9/11 piece. And I spoke truth to power, and I paid the consequences for it. And I got over my naivete about what it means to go up against, to run your mouth again and say things against the power that be. So it was that. It was a learner, and what do I say out of it? To really shrink it, I say what you mean and mean what you say. Because a lot of us at the time, too, a lot of brothers and sisters was getting into this revolutionary poet thing, and there's a whole little clique. And it was amazing to watch when I got locked up, how it was like, when you cut the lights on and the ant and the roach run away. It was one of them.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Brothers and sisters were out. And look, people did it for whatever they did it for. But it was, for me, it was, I remember before it happened, my heroes are really, really awesome people, from Kwame Ture to Thomas Sankara to Fela Kuti. And I always say, these people, they've been tested by fire. You know what I'm saying? And I was wondering, I was like, well, I wonder how my test will be. You know how the universe says, be careful what you ask for. I mean, literally within about a month of having those sort of meditations and those daydreams, I was locked up and put in a cell and treated in ways that yanked my ancestors out of my DNA, the bondage of it, and all those things. So and though I look like I would be great in jail, I'm a pacifist. So it was one of the worst places to be, and then having to sort of put up this yo and talk with my patois, yo, where I do you it post all and kind of tough up all day long. It's tiring. You know what I'm saying? So say what you mean and mean what you say. But mean what you say. I promise you, because they will come for you in some way, shape, or form. And the crazy thing about it is that's how I got around the planet, because then everybody heard about it. People want to do interviews, and that poem and that incident, literally every time I've been booked internationally was because of that in some connected way. So yeah, the blessings inside the darkness, Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I have one or two because I'm a punk, semi, because I don't write political pieces. I have one or two semi political pieces, and I'm scared to read them because I think about you. And I'm like, I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle it.
I got now you're gonna make me get myself in trouble. I got a new joint that I'm getting some feedback, man. Maybe I'll share with you before we jump off. It's called Pretend.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's go to the next question.
Cool.
What are some challenges, which is really sort of parallel to where we're at right now? What are some challenges you face as a poet, and how do you overcome them in your writing?
You said it, sis. It's the fear of writing the thing. And a lot I teach a writing class, and one of the things I tell people is do not edit in your head, because you will never get, especially if you want a novel out of you gotta vomit. It has to be vomit, and I use vomit like, oh, why you gotta use vomit? Because with vomit, you can't edit vomit. You like, damn, I ate that corn last week. What the hell that's doing in my vomit? Everything comes out when you vomit. So that's what should happen when you write. And the beautiful thing about it, again, to use the vomit as the metaphor, if you vomit in the toilet, you could flush it. So if you vomit the words in there crap, you could flush them. But you could look in there, inside of that, you could go and you may find a line to a poem or the title to a new poem. And so for me, it's really about that, like overcoming the fear of what people are going to think and realizing that they won't know what I wrote until I share it with them. So I have to be honest with me and get the whole thing out, all of it. Like all of it has to come out. And then I could look and I could color away and cut away and break it down and whittle down until I get to what I want to share with you. But trying to edit in my head, like, oh man, I can't write that part. Or the things that you're ashamed of, or the things that you are sure of, or the times when you looked weak to not want to write those down. You're never going, because you can't get from here to there if you don't want to deal with this. You're gonna always be over here looking over there. So to me, that was the biggest challenge, if that's the right way.
Right. Yeah. Someone just asked a question. Is there any wrong way to write a poem?
I don't think so. Not from the way I look at it. Because again, if we're talking about, I believe you should workshop your poem. So you write that first thing, and maybe it doesn't have any form that you can recognize, but it came out of you, and it came out of you musically, because a poem to me has a rhythm to it. Right. And you could hear the rhythm, and now you adding it's almost like you're putting the words on top of this beat that's in your head. Okay. You know what I mean? So if that happens, yeah. But then the next job, if you're a professional, if you're a purist, or if you believe in working and bringing your best foot, then your job now as the creative person is to mine that thing you put out until it becomes something. So that's why I would say it's no way to write a wrong poem. Are there times when you can go out and share a poem that's not done and it bombs and it doesn't deliver? Yeah, absolutely. So if you look at it that way, I guess that would be a wrong poem, but I wouldn't call that necessarily a wrong poem. You know what I'm saying, sis?
Yeah, it's not a wrong poem.
Yeah. So to me,
it's finish it. It's something where you go back and you rewrite it and say, you know what, this time I'm gonna have everybody. Wow. Like when I spit some of my pieces, they're like, damn, Mona.
And they have no idea how many times you refine that. How many times they don't know how many times you crinkle that up and pull it and took that back out, or how many times you move this around and put this there and put that. They don't. Right. They have
scratch this out and scratch that out, and then you put it back, and it's like, okay, wait a minute. Yeah,
and that's the work. That's the work. Yeah.
So question 11.
Mhm.
How do you think poetry has changed or evolved in the modern era? And what impact has technology had on the way we consume and create poetry? Do you
Well,
understand that?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I mean, like we just talked about, it's beautiful. Like you asking things that we sort of brushing by because it's one thing, yeah. So for
Uh-huh.
me, it's how you write the poems now. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like the fact you're welcome, sis. Welcome. Let's unpack.
That's
It's
I forgot her name. Yeah,
but
but that's
that's how that's but to me that's that's the thing is to me is that you could write on your phone now. You got people bringing up their phones. Like I tried that a few times. I just can't. I'd rather
mm,
bring a book up because I forget to scroll or I scroll past it, then I got to go back. And so that to me, watching people, then there are people who have perfected that. You know what I'm
yes,
saying?
yes.
Somebody like Baba Ngoma, that's our my father and him are the same age. And I watch him
Hmm.
up there with his phone, like Baba, you crack me, you just blow my mind. How you just keep on stepping into whatever comes next. Baba,
Yes.
you give Baba a minute, he go in the back,
Yes,
transform and
yes.
come out and be like, all right, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? So that's
Uh-huh.
I continue to learn from him. And so to me, it's that. Now the other thing is what this thing, this world right here, at a point to me, poetry is growing very organically and very sort of nurturingly. And then of course the mainstream got a wind of it. And next thing you know,
Mm,
we have deaf poetry. And so I
right.
think that I don't know if that was good for poetry.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of it, Russell will come out or doing the promo, and I get the promo because I do promo. You got to put the best foot forward. The best poets in the world.
Hmm.
You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Relatively speaking, point of view, or
Relatively
as
speaking,
or as the young
absolutely.
people say now, POV, POV, POV. You know what I'm
I don't
saying?
understand their language,
Yeah.
so I don't
So
know
so it's
understand their
like
language.
to me hurt because it went from places like the moon where you would have very organic things happening where brothers and sisters would be brave enough to come up and try poetry
Hmm.
to everybody wanting to write the poem that was going to get you on Deaf Poetry the next season.
Mm.
And that to me was like steroids. It's
You
like
never.
somebody came along and gave poetry a shot of steroids, and it looked really good in the beginning, and then niggas started getting sick because steroids kill you.
Mm.
You feel me?
You never did.
Nah, nah. I
Never
was
did
I,
it.
I was I was one of the in the first batch of people that Bruce George saw when they put it together. And I remember going to Malik Yoba's spot and doing the whole interview process and doing it, and then it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But when I started hearing him say things like, "Now we already got a dread this semester," I was like, "Yeah, okay,
Oh shit.
I'm good."
Okay.
And bringing people
Right.
back 6 and 7 and 8 different times and calling them the best poet. Holy cow! In the world, it just became like this thing. And asking legends to if they could do another poem because you can't air the one they did because it poked at the wrong people.
Mm.
It shunned light in the wrong direction. That it became and that's not a knock. And I know some will think that. So maybe who the cat fit let them wear it then. I guess.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Lala, thanks for the question. I'm sorry. I
yeah.
had a,
Lala,
I
was
had a,
Lala.
I had a blank spot for a second. Thank you
Peace,
for the
Lala. Peace,
question.
Lala. Peace, peace, peace.
So, question number 12. Are there any specific rituals or habits you have when it comes to writing? And do these help you get into a creative headspace? Exactly what you're doing right now.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. This is my door out of this
Uh,
world. I
yes.
use it. I use it the way Bob and I was raised by Rasta, so this is what I was taught. It's a meditational thing. We would get in trouble for using it as some kind of
Hmm.
recreational fun thing. I understood the medicinal purpose of this right from the get up. So
Yes.
to me, meditation and clearing out, and as a visual artist, as a multi-gifted artist, you really got to be able to when the thing comes, sometimes the painting will come in full, and my job is to record it physically before it starts to fade. Likewise for the words, a whole 2, 3, 4 stanzas come, and it's about getting them down. And for me, being able to move things out of the way and kind of go into
Right.
my zone, not only by going downstairs to my studio and closing the door, but by I could be anywhere, and then the idea can come, and I could really, really zone out and zone in on that place. And yes, I meditate, and yes, this does help me to that place. So for me, it's that. But I also have my shrine, and I go in front of my shrine, and I'll talk to my ancestors. And on
Okay.
stage, to see me before a performance is to crack up laughing because I would prostrate to my ancestors the way you do in front of a shrine
Mm.
in Ifa and tell them, my grandfather was hilarious. My grandmother was hilarious. They were both characters. And my grandfather would be like, today, boy, I would be a Syrian all day. And from 12 o'clock p.m. when I opened the tailor shop to 7 p.m. when he closed, he would be a Syrian all day and an Englishman the next day. And he would never break characters. And he was hilarious in that way. And so to me, that, you know what I'm saying? That's my connection. And that's the thing I tap continuously. And I'm aware of that always. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Next question. Next question. Here we go. Can you share any specific experience or events in your life that have directly inspired your poetry? You have so
Wow.
many. You
So
have so
many.
many.
Yeah. But the first one that comes to mind is going to Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi, to perform with Kasim Allah and Jade Banks and our girl Jolivette Anderson, who invited us down there, who's now a professor up in up here in the Portland, up in Maine, up in the Maine area. And we go out, she take us, and we go by Margaret Walker's house. Margaret Walker, one of my favorite poets, she wrote this epic poem called For My People. She goes, that's Margaret Walker's house. I'm like, word? Yeah, I said, pull over. I wanted to take some video. So she pulls into this driveway, and I get out the car, and we taking pictures across the street. And I finally look where I am, and I'm like, man, this looks familiar. And she's like, yeah, we in Medgar Evers' house. As a matter of fact, you standing right where he was standing when he got shot. And I had like a transportational kind of vibe where I looked down and saw blood and started crying. And we went from there to a plantation, and I felt the spirit of our ancestors there and told them they could use my body to leave. And then I went back to her house, and we left and came back up here a few days after, and up to the northeast, and back to America and back to New York. And that was about, you can see me going into that place, right? That was about
yes.
That was about 2 days before 9/11. And I was with Kas. You know how I love Kasim.
Yes.
We were talking about the trees down there because I would smoke outside Jolliver's house, and the tree at night, it would, during the day it would be like tree, and at night the tree would be like, and I'm like, am I high? Is this tree moving? And I showed Kas, and Kas came out and sat with me and had the same experience. And Kasim can write right now. He can write at the moment he gets it. So he wrote his tree poem down there about Bubba, about driving past Bubba and his overall selling eggs and all things. I think it was about, we left there and went to Louisiana to perform as well. And that trip, so we talked about that. And when I got up here the morning of 9/11, I wake up and I see what's going on. I get my paper to write. And that's when my tree poem came. So long story short, that's how things are, but they got to marinate. They got to bubble and boil. And trees. Yesterday, a tree spoke to me in Mississippi. And you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, that. And the other one, 41 times, Amadou Diallo, and realizing that when he got murdered a couple years before I was in college, and we had actually come up with this little black book, we call it, for the young people up in New Haven specifically, for what to do when they got stopped by the cops. And we it was like a little book. Go to the police station, get an ID. Always carry identification. Don't, it was a whole kind of by the numbers kind of thing. And we all called each other and was like, yo, did this brother get a hold of our book? Because we brought him down to the Bronx and into Harlem and gave him away. And he did that. He went for his wallet and they murdered him. And that blew me away. And my sons at the time, Malik, this is 99, Malik was 5. Right? And Malik was 10. And Atiba was 4 and Kofi was 3. Those were my sons. And I shit my pants. And then a couple weeks later, they told they was going to be moving up to upstate New York, the trial. And that shit was like Rodney King when they moved it to Simi Valley and it came back not guilty. And I was like, whoa. So I wrote 41 times when I the night watching the news. And I wrote Bulletproof Vest, which used to be the second poem when I heard the trial was going up there. And then I got into slam and it was like, the poems are too short. You should combine them. So I combined 41 times and Bulletproof Vest and made the poem that everybody knows is 41 times.
God damn.
So that's where they come from.
That 41 times poem is.
Yes, that poem, and it keeps growing. Sadly,
I'm sure it does. Absolutely.
Sadly, yeah, because we keep getting murdered. So yeah.
You know what I went through. So
absolutely, darling, absolutely. Bless your heart, man. Again, black woman and strength.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, man.
We're warriors, man. We're warriors.
Woo! In ways that people don't understand. They think it's just spiritual. Nah, y'all would slap the shit out. Harriet used to put her gun in your mouth and say, "You either gonna run or you gonna get killed right here. Make up your mind, nigga." You know what I'm saying? That's not a metaphor. She really did that, and I know quite a few sisters that have that spirit will snatch your ass up and be like, "Get up."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. 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 Hell
Uh-huh.
yeah. Next question. Hello.
14, yeah, yeah, here we
There
go.
we go. Number 14. How do you think personal experiences and emotions influence the way you write and the subjects you explore in your work?
Oh, everything. Because I
Mm-hmm.
channel my ancestors all the time. So I'm aware of
Okay.
that. Like the newest play that it's not done, it's not typed, it's written. Like it's
Okay.
almost typed. I'm getting it typed. It's called The Haunted Mill on Top of the Hill. And
Mm-hmm.
that's patois for the haunted sugar mill on the very top of the hill. That's
Okay.
English. That's English for what I just said. And it's every time I go to the Caribbean, I get that experience where the sugar mills in the Caribbean are our version of cotton fields. Like
Okay.
when I went south and I realized it was still cotton fields, I was blown away. Like through the deep south, I was blown away because it's instantly transformative. In the Caribbean, though my mother talked about picking, they call it sea cotton.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, it was much thinner, and it wasn't as abundant. But in the Caribbean, what you did have was sugar cane, which
Right.
made rum and everything else. So we like places like Antigua, we had so many of those mills and the stone mills. That's where they used to grind the sugar cane. And
Mm-hmm.
every time I go into them things, I catch spirits, as we say in the Caribbean. So I would know it. But the last time I went 2 years ago during the pandemic, my cousin, he was with me and he took pictures of me once we stepped in there. And I'm looking at the pictures on his camera when we step out, clueless as to what the hell. I'm like, I was doing that. I was crying. I was on the ground. He's like, yeah, man, you come in, you go crazy. Every time you come in, yeah, you go on. So I what?
Wow.
And I was like, okay. So being me, I didn't freak out. I was like, okay, so that's the story. So the new play is about there's 7 spirits, and they're
Yes.
still trapped in this mill.
Mm-hmm.
And the story that we learn is they were the 7 people that planned a uprising on the plantation, and somebody told, and they were all killed, and that's why they're still trapped in that sugar mill. So the story
Wow.
is a story, and I'm going to play all 7 of them, and we're going to film it and do it kind of 21st century style. So that's we got the Betty Hope, the museum in Antigua where the sugar mill is. They're on board, and this woman, her family owns the sugar mill in St. Croix that they
Mm-hmm.
restored almost back to its original form. She
Mm-hmm.
loves the idea. So those are the 2 places that we hope sometime this year, we hope to like start really kind of testing it out. They do driving movies in the Caribbean still. So what we're going to do is
Wow.
we're going to put a driving screen next to it, and on the night that
Mm-hmm.
we debut it, we'll do it
Mm-hmm.
live. We'll do it live in the sugar mill itself. Because
Uh-huh.
this ain't no build a sugar mill on stage thing. Like I got to catch the vibration in there and
In there.
allow that to be the voice. So
Right.
we're gonna film it and we're gonna put it on film. So the audience will watch it on the screen the night that we debut it, and then we'll have it as a short film that we can present to different short film festivals and what have you. I'm
Oh
gonna just keep
yeah.
I'm
I
gonna keep
definitely
growing.
want to hear it. I want to see it.
I'm,
I definitely want to see it.
well, you might be familiar because I got this dope sister who's also a producer and produces
Mm.
incredible music. Her shit might be on it, so you might hear her. Her name is Mona Bode. I don't know if you know her. So
I'm
you
like,
dig
who the hell is he
me?
talking about?
Yeah. You know
That
what I mean? So
poem, oh man, that track is so dope.
yeah.
That's
Oh
a dope
please,
track. I
please,
took,
that
and you know how many times I had to readjust and
yeah.
redo that whole piece just to
I'm
make it
I'm
perfect.
glad you brought that up because I think we just got to put that out. We just got to sit one of these days and do that piece. It's timeless to me. Every
I
time I
think
hear it, I'm
so.
like, wow. I have people who when they see me cuts me out because like, yo, why you ain't put that out? I love that, and that was something I played for them once. You know what I'm saying? So it's a classical piece. I love doing it
Yes.
with you. What you feel off of that is the vibe we have for one another. I really love you a lot. You're my sister. I think you're awesome sauce, and and
Oh, you're gonna make
and
me cry.
and I can't wait to share that piece. I think a lot of people are going to really dig that piece, and I know
Every
it
now
goes.
and then I put it on my page. Maybe I'll put it up on my page
Yeah.
today, and so
I
y'all
could
can hear it.
wait for you to come home. I'm
Yep,
moaning for my Mona. I've
yep.
been waiting all day for you to come home,
It's a
baby.
dope ad.
Yeah,
That piece is dope. That piece. I don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
where I got that from, but the
I don't
piece
know
is
where
dope.
you played that part for me. You had this when you still had your booth,
Yes, when I had my
and I
booth,
literally
yeah.
I literally read the piece, got
One
up and went in the
time.
booth and did the hook. Yeah, and then
Yep,
the rest was Mona Magic, and that's how I've heard your tracks. I told you I was in South Africa and heard one of your productions
yeah,
at a
yeah.
house joint, but that's when I understood what you bring to the table. You know what I'm saying? So yes, I will definitely be tapping you for something very sort of ancient futuristic for the
Hey,
soundtrack for that.
whenever you're
Yeah, yeah.
ready.
Oh, I will.
I still do producing. I produce music still every now and then. Not so often, but not for myself anymore. But if people need help, I help them out and lay
Cool,
the
cool,
tracks
cool,
or whatever. So,
cool, cool,
but
cool.
let's get to these questions. We got two
Okay.
questions left. Number
Cool.
15. Here we go. Do you have any favorite poets or poems that have had a lasting impact on you? And if so, how have they influenced your own work?
Well, Langston Hughes, the Godfather, him,
Mm-hmm.
but it's something that we don't know. A lot of us don't know. Langston Hughes said he was inspired by the music, and when I say the music, I mean the flow of Claude McKay, brother from Jamaica, and
Mm-hmm.
he wrote "If We Must Die," which a lot of people know. But he also wrote a piece called the Tropics in New York, where he talks about walking by and seeing pineapples and mangoes and the homesickness and make your mouth water for the mango. So that's one of my favorites. And
Wow.
then the other poem, again, Langston Hughes, anything by Langston Hughes, If We Must Die, of course. Simple, anything about Simple, his character that he invented. But then the other piece is Richard
Mm-hmm.
Wright. Like a lot of people know Richard Wright as the cat who wrote Native Son, but they don't know he was a master poet. So he has this piece called Between the World and Me, where he comes upon the scene of a hanging
Mm-hmm.
afterwards, and it's so beautiful the way he talks about horror and pain and wickedness and white supremacy in this thing. It's beautiful. The way the sunlight catches through the skull, and he can see it beaming out of the eye. And yo, my poem Trees is basically modeled on that. I laid trees on top of that and just kind of, but that's the structure, that structure. So that, and then poets, Richard Wright, but modern poets, our parents, our lyrical parents, Amiri Baraka and Sonia Sanchez, and Ngoma,
Mm-hmm.
and Sonia Sanchez's husband, Etridge Knight, the master of the haiku, and Bob Knight, Bob McNeil, who was a cat out in California, and Ted Jones, who to
Mm-hmm.
me is the master of erotic poetry. And I like a lot of, and of course Derek Walcott, the Caribbean's treasure to the world, who I got a chance to meet and share work with and get blessings from. Man, that's probably a big thing. And Saul Williams, who was brilliant and made you really, really understand how
Brilliant.
how how
Brilliant.
how to use your body to tell poems, and
Yes.
Qasim Allah, who brings like this hip hop to his
Yes.
poetry,
Love him.
and Chris Slaughter, who's
Mm-hmm.
grown from somebody that maybe you might have overlooked because he's a little shortcut to this powerful,
Yes.
powerful poet
Yes.
who has a master's degree in writing now, and who teaches our children, our most challenged children, and who's a brilliant brother with love, like bubbling out of all the seams of him.
Yep.
And it goes on, sis. And Mona Baudet, who makes erotic poetry beautiful and not vulgar. You know what I'm saying? It's
Oh,
like
thank
all
you.
of that, all of that, all of that. Yeah, that's a big list of people, and all the people that I forgot that I love. Helena Lewis and Nathan P and Cool Breeze with that voice that he puts to things. And we come from a beautiful era of
Mm-hmm.
poets. So a lot of the brothers and sisters
You
from that
forgot the
time.
last poets. You forgot the
Oh,
last
please,
poets.
and
You
Baba
better
Doom,
not. You
and
better
Baba
not
Doom,
forget
and
Baba
Baba
Abio
Doom
Doom.
for
You
the
better not forget
millions.
him. That's right.
Yeah, Dune is that. Dune is another. Dune's been here in my living room, and
Mm-hmm.
anytime you come here, I get off the ground and I get off the chair and go sit at his feet. Like
Yep.
I want you to understand that you are Baba, not
Yep.
like in no play where you are all
That's
capital
right.
letters with like 11 exclamation marks afterwards. Baba.
Right.
Warriors, and it's an honor to meet them people, the Quincy troops and all those people that I've had the pleasure of really sitting and building with. So yeah, that's a big long question for like another 2 hours.
I think the last time I saw you was probably at mine and Breeze's birthday, right?
Yes,
When we
physical,
when
yes,
we had it was like a reunion.
yes.
That was about 4 years ago or
Yeah,
something
it
like
was.
that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
Okay, last question. Here we
Uh-huh.
go. What do you think sets poetry apart from other forms of writing, and why do you think it's such a powerful and timeless art form?
Wow, sis. Again, really, really beautiful questions. Thank you for being so thoughtful. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because and I'm a writer, I write
Yes.
novels, I write essays, I write articles, I write plays. To me, poetry is all of those things, I call poetry word economy. Like for me, right? Like you take Steve Breeze just said exactly 4 years.
Yeah,
You
exactly
take
4 years.
yeah,
Yeah.
you could take an essay, right? Or a short story and take all the words out of them. Every word that you could take out and still have the main idea there, that's a poem. So when you find somebody who's a brilliant poet who can fabricate something and put something together, you put it together in a way that takes you into the past and then brings you back to the future, or takes you through a love affair, or a love making session that makes you go whoa, make your mouth water, and make you taste the mangoes, or make you feel the mother's pain. That to me is why poetry is so powerful, because a lot of times you ain't got an hour to read your short story, or
Right.
or 15 minutes to give you a speech. You got 3 minutes. You got 90 seconds to say, "Mommy, me no want go America, cause nothing I go marry about America. Me no want buy no mango there supermarket.
Right.
Me want to pick them off a mango tree, and besides all the milk and honey done share out. It's only hand them out living in government projects where guns are back instead of dogs, and the sirens have replaced the crickets and frogs at night. The policeman keeps watching me. I see him creeping through my dreams, arresting my aspirations. So, mommy, me no want go America, cause nothing I marry about America." That's my whole play.
Yeah. That's
In
right.
what? In about 30
In
seconds.
about
You
30
dig?
seconds.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
that's why a poem is to me the strongest, and that's why when our music, hip hop, is powerful and true to the art form. That's why it's so powerful too, because it can do the same thing. In these,
Absolutely.
it's like economy of words. You know what I'm saying? Fight the power. Fight the power was our generation. Like
Yes.
that's 20 years of yelling and screaming.
More than
You know,
20.
I just took the 80s and 90s and just trumped it into, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Because it's
yeah.
like, wow, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Wow, because by 92 I was graduating from college. You know what I'm
Shit,
saying? So it's
92.
like,
I was working, raising babies.
yeah, man. So you dig what I'm saying? So it's like it's that. That's why, and that's why I will never go away from that art form. It's my crutch. It's my best friend. It's my binky. Like it's my thing. Yeah, it's what I can go back, because you could take a poem and grow a poem into a play.
Yes.
You dig?
I have one trying to
I
throw
know.
into a play, but
I know.
we'll
I
get to
know.
that
Yes,
at
we
a
will.
later, at another time.
Yes, we
So
will.
now,
Yes.
where can the people that are listening find you? Where can they find you
Well,
online?
cool. I like to say I'm the only Mandingo online, but hey, Iyaba Igbo Mandingo anywhere. All of the social media, outlets. Just put my name in Iyaba Igbo Mandingo. The website is Iyaba Arts. It's one AIYABARTS .com. And that's at Gmail. You'll use the same thing at Gmail. But yeah, all of them. I try to stay up. Somebody. I know I've been on Twitter for some years. I've been on TikTok for years. Not me personally, but I pay people
Yes.
to kind of handle all those
Handle
kind of
your
things. You got,
stuff.
yeah,
Yes,
handle
yes,
me
yes,
and
yeah.
keep me out there. I'm learning. It's called content. Every time you go, my booking agent's going, it's like, yeah, but we need content. Okay, cool.
All right, you
We
do
used
it.
to
I
call
don't
it,
know how to do the
we used to call that stuff back in our day. Stuff. Oh, you
right
need
stuff.
stuff.
I
You
need
need, yeah,
stuff. I
yeah,
need some
stuff.
stuff. I need stuff
Yeah,
done. I need some stuff done.
yeah. So that's the way to get in touch with me.
Can you spit a short? Give me a
Can I?
short piece. Give me a
Can I?
short one.
Can I? I'm gonna try to see if I can pull that piece up. It's
Okay.
very short, and I don't.
Okay.
I should have queued it, but I did not queue it.
It's
Um,
okay.
but it's another one of them pieces like you're talking about. Did you see the piece I did in Nathan piece today? I've been drawing.
No,
And
I didn't. I haven't been online today. I had a lot of other stuff I had to take care of before the show.
while my students are doing homework, I go in there. So if you get a chance,
I'm
go
gonna do. I'm
go
gonna
up and
look at
check.
it later. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, go up and check it out. It was crazy, is I just seen the video of our Facebook memories ain't no joke. I just saw the
Hmm.
video of us do at the party at Cool View and Cool Breeze thing.
Yeah.
Where are you? 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 Um. Hmm. Hmm.
Bree said the drawing of Nathan P is classic. I
Yeah.
saw that. Wait. Wait a minute. I did see that piece. I saw it today or yesterday or something like that.
Yeah. I put it up today. So you might have
Yeah.
saw a fire starter.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to find the poem, and I really want to do the poem. Cool Breeze, say something. Cool Breeze, talk. Yeah,
Oh
bring him up.
wait. You want me to bring him in?
Yeah, bring him up here.
All
I
right.
have
Hold
no
on. Let
problem with
me
bringing his
get
ass up here. Bring his ass up here.
find something else to read while I send this
I'm doing it.
Negro.
I'm doing that right now. I'm doing that
While I
right now.
find that Negro. Well, let's send him the link. Breeze, if you can come up for a minute. I promise I won't curse you out. We're gonna send it to Messenger. Okay.
Is he up? Is he in there?
No, I gotta find him. Here we go. I'm gonna send it to him right now. We're gonna bring him in for a hot minute.
Cool.
If anybody has any questions,
please shoot away.
You want to ask Iyaba?
Help me with this dead ear, yo. Help me with this dead ear.
Right. I just sent him the link.
This is the perfect piece, and it's the perfect venue because it's loud and it's that thing. You know what I mean? But
we got to keep up with the times. You know,
yes, we do, baby. Yes,
more poet. We don't do poetry spots no more. Now we do podcasts.
Yeah, podcast to the nth degree too.
I just sent him the link. I just sent the links. Find something. Think about anything you got.
I'm coming. Where, man?
He's trying to come in.
Okay, tell him get in here. Get in here, Breeze.
There you go.
There you go, Breeze.
Good. You can see me?
Yeah, we can see you. What up?
Yo, what's up,
family? What's good, family? What's good?
This is a classic interview.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Moni, I'm not surprised though.
No, but listen. I'm surprised because not totally. No, I'm blown away. I put it to you like that because she actually took a time and these questions. I'm like, oh damn.
Yeah, really. Yeah, she's doing a great job, B.
And this whole interview was memory lane, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
This whole interview was memory lane. I was like, wow.
Yeah, she and her segues were perfect. I dug the whole dance. I really did.
Yo, listen, man, I appreciate it. Great, fantastic job, Mona. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. Wow. Appreciate it.
She did it in her own smooth, syrupy flow. You know, it's all good. But yo, this is seriously a memory lane.
Wow.
Situation here, because we went a few errors.
Bro, you see these drawings we doing. I'm sitting back at myself. This is just something I did and realized I was going to do this. Imagine when I sit back and go, first of all, my drawing is getting so much better, but now I'm realizing, I got so many of y'all that I could draw, bro. It's so many people, and everybody that I draw is somebody that I love dearly. So to me, it's like, yo, please understand that this is this is like magic, man. For me, I love the fact that we're all growing and maturing. I love watching brothers and sisters still reach out and do their thing.
Hold on, I'm gonna mess you up. Let me see if you could see this. Hold on. This is let me get down here. This
look at that.
You remember
this piece? You see the piece?
Oh,
from back in the days of Justin's.
Yes,
this was the first self-portrait that you did. Wow, bro.
Well, I'm looking, brother. I'm looking. This is the one you put together. This is the joint we did. Yeah, E. Patrick. Again, that's why I gotta love the brother. E. Patrick he came up to me afterwards. He was like, "Yo, you blow my mind, man. You just did poems while painting in front of people."
Yeah. Yeah.
He said, but you broke the number one rule of theater. I said, what's that? He said, man, you had your damn back to the audience had more than half the time. So we traded. Unbeknownst
I don't care. It was still a dope. It was still a dope one man show anyway.
We traded my a painting that he still holds dear from our first 2 acting lessons, because Patrick got a master's degree in theater. You don't tell nobody that.
Yeah, I know.
That was man, why can't I find this poem? That's not even funny, man.
It really is.
Yeah.
Man.
This piece right here is from let me see, I left Wall Street. Yeah, it's 2001. This poem right, that painting right there, bro. I was like, yeah, man. Yeah. Classic memories, bro. I shared this on my page, so definitely, I was ripping and running, Mona, so I didn't get to push them so forth, but This
Now I
is
see,
one
I
of
see the
those.
push. I appreciate you, bro. And the beautiful thing
Thank
about
you. I
21st
appreciate it.
century is we gonna get this back on the other way around. You know this is coming back. And why can't I find this poem?
It's okay, honey. If you can't find it, don't even worry about it. They're gonna find you.
Yeah, they are.
You're all over the world.
Yeah,
You're
I
all
am.
over
Yeah.
the internet.
Yes, I am. Yes, I
And
am.
when
Yes, I
and
Yeah,
am.
you're
when
doing your
I
thing.
find one of your pieces, I will post your piece on my page. How
Well,
about
do
that?
that. Do that. Do that. Do
Mona,
that. Do that. Do that.
you've got to go to his studio. You're still in the
I've
same
been
Yes.
to
spot,
his
right?
studio, not the new
No.
studio. I
No.
went
Yeah.
to
You
the
got.
old studio.
You got to come up. You
No,
got to come up to the space. You got to come up to the space.
in
All of
I
y'all
have
got
Connecticut.
to come
to.
up. Everybody come.
I've been up there. Remember,
Yes, you have. But it's. I mean, y'all got to come back. It's
I
a
gotta
hub.
come back. Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
it's a hub.
It's a new spot.
Yes, and I want y'all to. It's our spot.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
four floors, and it's space in here. It's space in here for us to perform, for us to debut
Produce
a
events and
new
all
thing.
that,
Yeah,
man.
everything.
Yeah.
It's that, and nobody can tell me shit. I pay the mortgage here, so nobody can
I
tell
know
me
Yeah,
nothing
that's
about
right.
yeah.
turning the volume down or that's racist or they can't. I can tell them fuck off and get out. You know what I'm saying?
it's a real situation over there, man.
I've always wanted that. I wanted. This is
Oh, wait,
this is the
somebody asked
black.
a question. Someone asked a question. William Washington asked a question. He says to ask you if he'd ever accept a poet,
Laureate.
Position or
position.
title.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you that's crazy you asked that, brother, because last year or a year and a half ago, I was one of the poets in consideration for the Poet Laureate of Connecticut. A good sister of mine was the one that they ended up going with. But yeah, that's to me is if you ask me like where would I want to be, I'm gonna say my home, Antigua. I would love to be the Poet Laureate of my homeland, and that's we're working on that because I'm starting to go create that way home for myself. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
I'm gonna start building and create a place where as soon as it gets cold, I'm out. Yeah, so that's
I feel you.
yeah.
That's dope.
It's a beautiful situation, man.
You know, as soon as I get off the phone with y'all, I'm gonna find that poem, right?
I know.
It always
It's
works.
all right. And if you do, just tag me and tag it to me, and I'll post it on my wall.
That was some funk ash ish, man. That's because this thing right here, this thing that these people are doing, it makes you.
Well, you got it in your phone?
Yeah. See,
Somewhere on his phone.
Remember we was talking about that 21st century thing. Look, now if I had my book, if I was smart, I would have had the book, and I dog ear everything. I probably would have had the pen right there. But it's cool though. It's cool.
But
okay.
Well,
It's all right.
it's funny because I haven't written but so long. The last poem I wrote was literally in my phone. But I think you know my history. The challenge I have now is that I never used to write this shit down all them years ago.
No.
So,
Then you try.
So now, so I hold on to 2 or 3. You're killing me again.
Yeah.
Mama's blessed great
Which is my favorite. You're killing me. Yeah. My favorite.
And there's another one, but the last one is I said, I got to stop. You know, and then I come across, because you know how we all have our process, and sometimes we a poem is coming to us, and I might spit the end first, then the middle. There's a no specific. So I remember pieces of my joint, and I'm like, I'm paying the price.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And for years, man, I stopped. Once we stopped doing like the quote unquote slam thing, I stopped memorizing poems off the dome so much. And I really love the idea of being able to come out the book now and share new shit. So,
yeah. That's
yeah.
All right. So I want to thank. Wait, stay. Don't leave. I'm gonna get off of here. We're gonna keep talking. So I want to thank everybody for coming out and listening, and thank you. I appreciate y'all. I'll be off for the next 2 weeks because I'm having surgery on Wednesday. So I won't be on the mic. I won't be here on my podcast for 2 weeks, but I'll be back, towards the end of the month. All right. Cool, so you guys have a good time. Don't leave, you two. You guys have a good night. Thank you so much.
Peace, family.
Share it.
Please do.
Uptown with Mona. We getting it done. Thank you guys. Have a good night, y'all.
Yes.
Hey everybody, this is Mona Bodane, and I'm excited to welcome all of you to my new podcast, Uptown with Mona.